Hello, Jacob. Trying to understand why I cannot see any star yet. If we're dealing with smoke again or what it is. All the forecasts talk about a clear sky tonight. And the namesake of the RR Lyrae variable stars will be in sight. So that's going to be my target. See if I can get a couple hours of data. And we're going to use the Seestar Alp because I couldn't find anything close enough to it to allow us to go there. Telescope, configure, Seestar, connect, please, please, please. We're connected and there it is. I like it. I like it. So as soon as we see Polaris, or as soon as we see anything in the sky, we'll go after it. How have you been? Done with the semester yet? Yeah, semester is done. We are June. I'm supervising 3 undergraduate students. Actually, 2 show up. The other one hasn't shown up yet. Try to capture variable stars with a big telescope, and we had success last week. We captured SW, I think it was SW booties. We also had success with Delta Lambda Hercules, DL. Got 750 frames. The burden is on them now to write the software to process those images. Smoke. According to the fire and smoke map, we are covered with smoke. Had to be. Not as bad as Alaska. It really is bad out there. Quite a few fires in Alaska. And Western Canada is really bad. Okay. As soon as I see Big Dipper, we'll go looking for Polaris. I better plug in Seestar. I don't want to drain the battery. And let's look at decluttering the sky. There we go. Find RR Lyrae. It is perfectly situated. Not connected to a computer, connected to a power supply. That's weird. Yeah, I turned the dew heater on. See if that helps. We have a heat warning for the next 3 days here. So the sun set about an hour ago, but it's still very bright outside. Either that or my Skycam has bonked. Whoa. Yeah, we have a minimal amount of clouds right now to the west. But until Seestar sees stars, I'm not going to try to move it anywhere. I only opened the arm so it is correctly pointing due north. All right, I can see stars now. But clouds are moving over Polaris. So we're going to skip Polaris and go straight to Lyrae. It should be out here in the clear area. We are in desperate need of focusing, but it's seeing quite a few stars and I recognize the pattern. Lyrae has a magnitude of 7, so it is a bright target. Yay, nice. Let's do the focus anyway while we're at it before we do any work. And we need to ask it to save every frame. That's the whole idea. All right, previewing. Let's go back. Save each frame. That's what we're doing. And considering it's a magnitude 7, I'm not gonna go with any I'm gonna stick with 10-second exposures. So let's do it. It is smack in the middle. If the data are correct, we should see it changing from magnitude 7 to magnitude 8 over the next 2.5 hours, 2 hours plus. All right. One more minor detail, and this is for Jeannie's sake. And there we go. Yep, you can see the pattern already. This is the stellarium field of view. These are the 3 stars, the 3 bright stars, and here they are, with RR Lyrae in the middle and the 2 brighter stars above it. It's a very pretty part of the night. Okay. RR Lyrae consists of two stars actually, and one good way to see it is Stellarium Web, not Stellarium app, and I shall attempt to show you. For whatever reason, the web version shows a lot more detail than the app version, and I could not convince the app version to give me that kind of detail. But there we go. This is what we're looking at. The HIP 95497 and the RR Lyrae are about 6 arc seconds apart. So we're not going to be able to resolve them tonight. This is 424950 and 424955. So this is, they're very close. Whereas if we try to zoom in here, other than telling us that Seestar is just a little bit off, it does not resolve. But the pattern is there. The formation of those 5 stars. But more importantly, as we go out, those 3 bright stars, and here they are. They are HIP 95272, HD 182755, and then obviously, nope, come on, and RR Lyrae. Ah, thanks, Jacob. That's news to me. I'll see what that entails. Alright, Stellarium says it's a free open source planetarium for your computer. Let's see where they say that we can pay financial support. Jacob, I'm unable to find anywhere on that page that tells me that I can get more features by paying money. No, I'm talking about Stellarium PC, which is what I'm displaying here. Can we drive the Seestar with the Stellarium app on mobile? I don't know. I will look into it. Right now we need to convince Seestar to charge its battery. It's at 77 and hanging there. So Jacob, don't know if I told you, we successfully imaged SW booties with the 16-inch telescope in Oswego. And fortunately there were enough stars in there to plate solve. And more importantly, I used Sharp Cap with the auto stack live stack feature, not so much to live stack it, but to replate solve and recenter the star every 15 seconds and then save all the frames and then repeat that. It worked nicely. We ended up with a whole big stack of frames that were all centered exactly on the star, which is not what Seestar is doing tonight. You may have seen the Milwaukee Astronomical Society page on RR Lyrae. I think I have. How do you install the extended catalog? Open the configuration window. Go to the Extras tab. Find the Star Catalogs frame. Okay. It says all available star catalogs have been installed. So, yep, the answer is yes, I have. Hello, Otto. So we were talking about Milwaukee. On a day-by-day basis, they provide a whole bunch of variable stars that are available or visible from North America on that night, and they identify the approximate time at which they will peak in magnitude and how many hours it takes to get there. Hello, Jeannie. We're doing science tonight because the weather promises to be nice tomorrow to do fun stuff that is not science. But tonight is a unique opportunity for us to image RR Lyrae, the namesake of all the RR Lyrae variable stars. It's expected to peak at midnight. That's when it'll be at its brightest. But we're going to capture every frame from now till whenever. Complete with bugs on the dome. Otto, are you dealing with smoke from Alaska today? It shows Western Canada and much of Alaska covered with heavy, deep, thick smoke. We're only getting a thin layer from that. What's for dinner, Jeannie? Jeannie, the short video of Snooky got 1,500 views this morning. Funny thing about that snake is there is a little crack between the door and the wall in the observatory. And the other day I knocked on the door and Snooky stuck its head through the crack saying, "Who's there? I'm here." I opened the door and it just stepped outside and waited for me to finish work, and then went back inside when we were done. That's a lot of food. Good for you. Enjoy it. I had my simple 4-item dinner: steak, potato, broccoli, and dark chocolate. I enjoy a little square of dark chocolate for dessert. Not much comes close to the taste of a good dark chocolate. And there was a satellite that passed on stellarium. We don't have any planes for Bell to resolve here. No UFOs tonight. So even though Seestar is plugged in, it's draining the battery. So this may be our limiting factor tonight. Yeah, pizza definitely its own food group. My challenge on Tuesday is to get the two students in Oswego to a point where they can operate the big scope without me, so I can supervise remotely and let them do their thing. There is another satellite coming through. Let's see if we're going to see it on the frame. There is another one. Looks like it's Starlink night. Good morning, Peter. We're trying to do some science tonight by focusing on RR Lyrae, the namesake of all the RR Lyraes around. Especially considering that we have smoke. The sky cam is showing the smoke nicely. I don't know if nicely is the right term here. Oh, hold on, stand by. My bad. I was preparing for the webcast. Okay, I'm going to interrupt the stream very briefly. I hope not to lose you guys. I had been preparing the configuration for a remote stream that did not happen. Peter, can you verify that we are at 4K now? Or do you want me to verify? Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Yes, I was at a miserable 400 kilobits per second. We pushed to 4 megabits per second and 4K. Thanks for pointing it. I would not have noticed it. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you have any requests for tomorrow night, looks like our forecast is going to be good, as in crystal clear, all night. Tonight we have a window of only 2, maybe 3 hour stops without clouds. Tomorrow the sky should clear at around 8 a.m. Temperature should be in triple digits. Fortunately, it's Fahrenheit, not Celsius. And we should be clear all the way through Wednesday. So tomorrow night, viewer's choice. Yep, sans fire. Right now I have no idea why Seestar is doing what Seestar had never done in the past, and namely drain its battery even when it is plugged in. The good news, it's draining it slowly. I dare not turn off the dew heater considering that humidity outside is triple digits. Very funny auto. Seestar doesn't allow us to switch batteries, at least not easily. DWARF 2, you could swap batteries. DWARF 3, na 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 na. Seestar, na 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 na. I'll be switching cable next time. Actually, if you bear with me, I'm going to switch cables now. Hello, Bill. Peter, I have two students in Oswego who are doing a summer project of plotting the light curves for variable stars, the RR Lyrae series. And we have a unique situation tonight where the RR Lyrae, the variable star for which all those variable stars were named, is in direct view, and it is supposed to be changing magnitude from 8 to 7 within the next 2 hours. So that's why we are imaging it. We're going to lose the picture for a minute, so bear with me. We're back. That's item 1. Item 2. I switched cables between the power adapter and the Seestar to see if that makes any difference. It is already making a difference. Go figure. Two identical cables purchased in the same package. Let's see if this one's going to keep increasing. So I can tape the one cable and label it as bad. Hi Richie. Yes, the battery is charging. The image it's the bright one in the middle. Let me put my little red arrow. Data one. You can see the two identical fields of view, the one on Stellarium to the lower right and the one on Seestar. The three very bright stars. And there is another Starlink. If the Milwaukee folks, the Milwaukee Astronomical Society folks are correct, what do you mean not enough stars? Don't start that on me. We have smoke to deal with tonight. If the Milwaukee folks are correct, it should change by a full magnitude from 8 to 7 in the next 2 hours. Midnight, it's supposed to be the peak, and 10 was supposed to be the unpeak. According to the smoke map, we have smoke. According to the clouds map, we don't have clouds. So Peter, Genie sees them when they're being launched. She watches the launches from Vandenberg. And for those asking, this is what we have. We are right here where all that smoke overlaps. We're getting the smoke from the fires in the south. We're getting smoke from the fires in the west. And Alaska is bad today. This is where, Otto, I was wondering if you guys are breathing fumes. Yep, I see that, yes. This morning when I took the dogs for a walk, I could smell smoke in the air. And I knew it was not anybody's wood stove burning in the neighborhood. So, fires and smokes notwithstanding, we are looking forward to clear skies tomorrow night, and it's going to be viewer's choice. So if you have any choice of what you want to see, what you want to watch, let me know. That will determine what telescopes to put out. The new nova in Lupus is much too low to the horizon for me to get it here. The folks down in Florida and California have a much better chance. It is skimming the horizon here. It barely raises to about 5 degrees. And it does that when it's still not dark enough. I tried to get to it last night, but really to no avail. Went to the cemetery where it's supposed to be a much better field of view to the south. Here I'm hosed when it comes to the south. And even there, too much atmosphere, not counting all the cornfields. So, Jeannie, if you can see the south from where you are, that smoke is all the way to northern Florida here. Okay, back to get rid of the smoke. No choo-choo train here. This is what a Starlink train looked like over Minnesota recently. Uh-oh. And these are miscellaneous images of Starlink trains. One of the projects that I'm giving next fall to the students is to detect in astro images a satellite trail and delete it. Well, Peter, it's not space junk to people who are using the internet. The smoke cam is not too happy. Let me point once more to the battery level on Seestar. It's up to 85. We were at 73 when I switched cables. So Jeannie, here's a lesson for you. I bought a pack of 2 cables, identical. One of them is able to charge the Seestar and the other one is not. Who's still talking? You talking to me? Trying to hang in there. We have, as long as we have stars, as long as it's stacking something. There's another Starlink passing by. I don't know how accurate Stellarium is when it shows satellites going by. Jacob, I don't know what Windows has done to its what Microsoft has done to its operating system. But now when I type /Seestar, it no longer finds the drive of the Seestar. For that matter, I cannot find any drives anymore. Jeannie, I have a power supply, a USB power supply that converts the 120 volts into USB, and the cable that goes from the adapter to the Seestar to charge it is a USB-C to USB-C high-speed, high-power, turbo-power cable. And for some reason, one of the cables negotiates successfully between the Seestar and the power adapter, and it supplies the full current. The other one does not, and it supplies only partial current. As a result, in one case the battery is charging, in the other the battery is discharging. So the star on top of the frame, this one here is magnitude 7, and the one below it is magnitude 8.6. And this is our Lyrae that's supposed to be going from 8 to 7. So smoke permitting, we should see it reach roughly the brightness of the one above it. Peter, if you look at Seestar, where the telescope is relative to the target, you will see it moving, because the scope is trying to recenter the target and plate solve every few frames, and it does not seem to care that it's not smack in the middle. Remember, Seestar uses gears. Jacob will tell you they use gears as opposed to friction drive. So the gear steps are such that you're not going to have perfect overlap, and that's where the software, the stacking software comes into play. So you are correct. The scope is not centered on the target, and it's going to move to try to keep up with the target. Hello, Isobig. Gina, I have not seen them as large balls anywhere. It's Stellarium, not Stellina. Stellarium, the software, is showing them as large balls. The telescopes will show them at best as dots or as streaks, as lines across the screen. The funny thing is I can hear Seestar move when the Seestar symbol moves on Stellarium. And with the total absence of wind tonight, that smoke is going to just stick. Gonna get some water, I'll be back. Oh goody, the sky is clearing a bit. Jeannie, Dr. Kai Wang wrote Seestar Alp. It's a nice piece of software that allows Windows to interface to Seestar, and it allows Stellarium to access Seestar directly so that we can get to stars and other targets that are not in Seestar's catalog. Since Seestar does not allow entering coordinates directly. And that's why I have it open. And Stellarium allows me to define a field of view that corresponds to the Seestar field of view. And it's fairly good. If you look at the three brightest stars in the top half of the screen, you will see them both on Stellarium and on the Seestar app itself. Okay, let's see what you're talking about. Sky Atlas. Objects, top left. Top right, your left, other left, okay. Scroll to my favorites, then tap more, customize. Aha! Thank you, Jacob. Hey, I learned something new today. Thank you. Still calling it unknown object, but we're not going to argue. Good day, Peter. Thanks for joining us. Jacob, thanks for being part of my village. Okay, we know that all is well when we can see the Big Dipper pointing to the North Star, and the North Star is indeed in the north. My battery has reached, or Seestar's battery is at 100%, so swapping cables did the trick. So we have 50 minutes captured so far. There's another apparent star going by. So we seem to be getting a break from smoke and clouds. And then we're not sure what is so bright to the east. Are we getting a moon soon? I don't think so. Where's the moon? Yeah, there is no moon anytime soon. I don't know what that brightness is. I do not see anything out of my window. Moon does not rise till 3 a.m. So that very bright spot in the east is not the moon. There is Vega. Hello, CGD. See, my neighbor has not turned his garage light on lately, so that is good. And I don't know if the people in the woods have their lights on. It appears overly bright over the hill. It's Cazenovia that is in that direction, but I don't recall them supplying this much light pollution. I don't have any lights inside, Bill. Let me show you where I suspect the problem might be. This is Pompey, and due east is Cazenovia. That is a fairly largish community, and keep the lights on for you. So it may well be a combination of the atmosphere, the smoke, and whatever causing this big reflection. We have been fighting a losing battle with all the neighbors about their reckless use of lighting. I have a neighbor, about an eighth of a mile from me, who built an artificial bridge across his property and strung lights on both sides of the bridge, very, very bright lights that he leaves on all night. Yeah, people have no appreciation that their reckless and arbitrary lighting is disrupting wildlife and wildlife patterns. Long time ago, my grandfather had a chicken farm, egg farm, and he used to regulate egg production by adjusting the lighting during the night. If they were producing more eggs than he's able to sell, he would turn off the light every night. And if he had more demand than supply, he will leave the lights on all night, and the chickens will just keep laying eggs day and night. And he used it in a fairly scientific manner to determine how many hours of light he would give them in any given night based on demand for eggs. That was a reasonably small egg farm out in the country. Yeah, we're seeing quite a few stars now in those areas without clouds, including some tiny stars. That's when I was introduced to drinking raw eggs. I used to help picking up eggs from under chickens, and when there was a broken egg, we would just decapitate it and drink the inside, just either with a straw or just toss it, tip it over and just drink it. We were not too worried about all the diseases we hear about these days. And at the end of every day, my aunt used to take all the broken eggs and add milk and sugar to them. And in the morning we had the best creme brulee. I ate more creme brulee in my youth than I imagined. Anybody can imagine. And that was good stuff. So it took us an hour and a half to get an hour's worth of data, which is not too bad considering the smoke and clouds in and out. Okay, Bill, here's a question for you. Do we know why that Air India Flight 171 crashed? I am unable to come up with any scenario that explains what happened to it. Good night, Jacob. Yeah, from what I read, the gears were not retracted in a timely manner. Don't know if the engine failures occurred before he would have retracted the gears. And the flaps may or may not have been in the right position. On a totally unrelated note, that sky camera is showing an awful lot more stars, especially the smaller stars, considering the smoke and the clouds. There really are lots of stars on it. The only other dual engine failure that I can think of was the US Airways plane that landed in the Hudson. But that was an Airbus. Sorry, that was not an Airbus, it was a Boeing. No, it was an Airbus. Yeah. Bill, I don't know if you have seen the book Fly by Wire, but I used it as a case study that I taught to my young cadets who were learning about investigating safety mishaps. It was a very, very nice, thorough comparison of the cultures of the engineering behind the Boeing versus the Airbus. Jeannie, I was sitting in an airport in DC, actually, DCA, waiting to take off for Syracuse on an identical plane. And I reassured my fellow passengers that the probability of two identical accidents on the same day was extremely small, so we were safe. Bill, my focus of analyzing that book was on the hierarchy between computer and pilot, the who did what in what order, and who had priority where. Bill, you probably knew that Sully was a Boeing pilot who had switched to flying Airbuses not long before the accident. And lots of discussion was on how he was able to adapt and trust the aircraft to do its thing versus doing it himself. Part of the sequence, when the birds struck both engines, he still had enough power in one of them to turn the emergency generator to keep the computers going, and it was his top priority that the computer would guarantee that the plane will not stall, and that his job was to find a place to get it down into. Lots of little balls are throwing across stellarium. You are correct, CGD. Thank you for pointing it. Yeah, Cazenovia used to be home to Cazenovia College that went bankrupt last year and shut down. Bill, according to that book, when they struck the birds and they realized the gravity of the situation, Sully, who had never flown with that first officer before, that was their first flight together, he basically said, my aircraft, to the flight officer, to the first officer, and the first officer said, your aircraft. So Sully took over the controls, and that was his first decision. Second decision was to make sure that the emergency generator was on to keep the computers going. The hindsight analysis indicated that they had enough time and altitude to return to the airport. But by the time they made that realization, it was too late. That was the analysis afterwards. Bill, the big controversy when Sully testified to Congress about the accident, Airbus were very upset that he did not give the engineering of the aircraft due credit. And the question was, if he had been on a Boeing 737, would he have landed it as successfully as he did with the Airbus 320? The answer is most likely yes. Boeing is what he had flown all along. But the Airbus folks felt shortchanged, that no credit was given during the congressional testimony to the engineering of the aircraft, or to the subtle differences between the Boeing and the Airbus. That's a very good point, Bill. Apollo 13 was another case where they made the decision not to do a 180, but rather ricochet around the moon or slingshot around the moon or whatever. So we have an hour and 15 minutes of RR later. More importantly, it is at 59 degrees elevation, altitude. So we have it for another 10 degrees before Seestar stops being happy with it. The temperature outside has dropped to 77 degrees. Tomorrow we're forecasting a high of 94 with a heat index of 104. This is the third one, and this is the one actually called RR Lyrae. We did SW Booties, we did DL Hercules. They should have enough data tonight to try to draw a light curve. Their project is only 6 weeks long, and we are halfway. 3 weeks down, 3 to go. So we don't have much more time. Since Thursday was a holiday, they took off Wednesday as well as Thursday and Friday, and they may or may not be back on Monday. Tomorrow, we'll see. They're not there on vacation, they're on holiday. I'm helping by capturing data. They will be observing tomorrow and Tuesday from Oswego, with a lot of luck without me. The computer scientist among them has the simple job of taking those images and measuring the brightness of the star in the middle. Tomorrow night, if the smoke moves out, we should be able to look at some nebula. If we have smoke, we'll stick with galaxies. But I did not want to miss out on RR Lyrae being a viable candidate tonight. It's not going to be tomorrow or Wednesday. Bill, I don't know if you were here when I showed the binary star or the dual star inside the RR Lyrae. Let me pull it up again. More satellites. That was the discussion I was having with Jacob, the Stellarium app does not show as many stars as the Stellarium web. This one, as you zoom in, it keeps increasing or reducing the magnitude that you can see, and eventually you get to this. And let me show you the interesting thing here. If I were to fast forward the time, the star appears to swivel around the main star. And I don't know whether this is truly happening in a 2D or in a 3D manner, and whether this is part of the function that is showing the change in brightness. But that separation into two stars, I cannot get with the Stellarium app, only with the Stellarium web. Here it doesn't, it stops, no more zooming in. Yeah, we have been calling it the bug cam. The 5070 is a nice one, Pelican Nebula. It is just a touch too big for Seestar's field of view, but it's a nice one. Not too far from the North America Nebula. And that's where DWARF will do justice to both. Depending how the weather treats us tomorrow, we may attempt the Milky Way. Thanks, CGD. I will look into Astro Image J. Thanks, CGD. I will shoot that to the students and see how much they can, how steep the learning curve, and see if they can use it. Bill, that one came up nice. Did you do the denoising at the end? Did you apply the AI denoise to it? Yeah, Astro Image J looks like it's exactly what they need. Yeah, it looks very nice, Bill. Don't know if these are clouds moving in or smoke at this point. Hello, Larry. We're taking advantage of the night to capture as many frames as possible of RR Lyrae, a variable star, that I can then pass on to my students in Oswego to try to plot a light curve. But tomorrow, weather permitting, we will be having fun and hopping around the sky. Saturn is becoming now a morning planet. Apparently, the RR Lyrae family of variable stars have periods of a few hours, and those periods are not really symmetrical. If the tables are correct, this particular star should go from minimum to maximum magnitude from 8 to 7 in about 2 hours. So I'm going to attempt to get as many hours as the clouds allow me. We may or may not make it till tomorrow, the way they are moving in on us. Oh, good. So I will not repeat everything. Thanks for joining us. CGD, not to my knowledge. It has been showing it as 7.71 all night. Let me verify that Stellarium Web does not either. This is where the plot thickens. Stellarium Web shows it as 7.06 and Stellarium App shows it as 7.71. That is the full range that we were looking for tonight, from about 7 to about 8. So one is showing the brightest and the other one is showing the darkest. So it's almost tomorrow. According to the Milwaukee Astronomical Society, and let me pull up their data. Yeah, according to the Milwaukee tables, it is expected to reach its brightest between 12 and 12:30, and it will be at its lowest between 9:30 and 10:30. So they're giving plus or minus half hour. So my initial goal was to image it from about 9:30 till about 12:30, and we are on. Looks like the sky is clearing a little bit, so I just need another half hour and we'll be done for the night. The other challenge that we're facing is when I submitted the pictures to astrometry.net, it gives the anticipated value as opposed to the actual measured value, but they do have an API that will calibrate, and it looks like it looks like AstroImage J uses astrometry.net, uses that API to compare the neighboring stars and use them to estimate the brightness or the magnitude of the variable star based on the known stars around it. So the first order of business for me tomorrow morning is to download the images of Seestar and the raw images and look at frames that are half hour apart and see if there is a noticeable difference visually. If we look at the immediate neighbors, and I'm looking at what we are imaging here. For example, that line of stars, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we can see the fifth one. This one, according to, is a magnitude 16.78. And this one above it is a magnitude of 16. So we are imaging right now with Seestar. We're showing stars that are magnitude 16 and 17. That's not a bad deal. Those two that are the immediate neighbors of the RR Lyrae that we can see readily, they are 15 and 13. CGT, remember that we are stacking. The image that Seestar is displaying now is the stacked image. So this one's an 8.6, and the top one is 7, which is exactly what we're looking at. Going from the darker one when we started the night to try to reach the brighter one. And given that we are stacking, this one has been stacking 7s all along, and this one has been stacking all the way from 8s to 7s, which would explain that discrepancy. But it would be good to see the individual 10-second frames and compare them. With the reason I stayed with the 10-second as opposed to longer is that it is a bright star. Magnitude 8, 10 seconds is plenty. Yeah, CGT, one other thing I told the students to consider doing is to stack 10 frames at a time and do it in a sliding manner over the 750 frames that they have. But that was the DL Hercules was magnitude 11 and 12. This one is 7 and 8. A lot brighter. That sky cam is a very convenient visual aid on what's going on in our world, at least what's going on overhead. Bill, I was saying the first order of business tomorrow morning is to compare individual frames half hour apart. So we'll have about 4 or 5 of them. And to see if there's a visual difference in that star in the middle before we run any algorithms. I don't know if you were there, Bill, when I showed that Seestar is displaying stars that are magnitude 17. For example, these 3 stars are right here. This is 16.5, 15.98, and 16.65. Yeah, this is an incredibly dense area when it comes to stars. And it's not even in the Milky Way, it's outside the Milky Way. It's about halfway between Vega and Deneb. Milky Way would be a possibility tomorrow. Let's see what Milky Way looks like at 10. Yeah, I heard about that, Bill. Lots of excitement to see what it'll show. Yes, that's how they detected that nova in Lupus a couple, 3 days ago. My goal for next fall with the students is to introduce AI, artificial intelligence, into image processing, into astro image processing. The first task being detecting satellite trails, and the second task is deleting them from images. A separate task is given a target to identify the right metrics for imaging it, what filters, what aperture, what exposure, what duration. And the other unrelated task, and Bill, you will appreciate that, is to write an Android app to control Mr. Mead remotely. There is a senior level course in the fall for computer scientists where we, the customers, come to them and present our project ideas, and they will have, I don't know, a dozen presentations, and then they pick which projects they want to work on and deliver software solutions by the end of the semester. They work on teams of 3. There are about 30 students, so we have a good chance of getting some of our projects selected. We will also have an electrical engineering team to build sensors, optical sensors on the big scope, on the 16-inch Meade, to keep it from hitting its boundary or its edges. So it will turn it off when it is a runaway scope. One of my problems right now when I operate the 16-inch Meade from sharp cap or stellarium, anytime I give it a little nudge to move slightly to the right or to the left or up or down, it just runs away. And it's touch and go if we can stop it without having to hit the big power switch to turn it off. So their project is to build the optical sensors to detect a runaway scope and find a way to stop it before it hits the hard stops. Don't feel too bad, Bill. Voyager 1 is from the 1970s and it's still sending us stuff. Still working. This is a nice sky cam, nice field of stars tonight. It'll be curious to see if we can estimate what magnitude the sky cam is showing, what magnitude stars. Looking from west to east. This is Arcturus, this is Vega. There are 3 neighbors to Vega. Yep. This is magnitude 5. Okay, so it is showing magnitude 4 and 5. Vega's neighbors. The 3 stars below Vega. Three 3.5. 5. Ladies and gentlemen, when we get to 2 hours of captured data, we will call it a Monday. And I will share with you tomorrow night the findings and the results of this episode. And a reminder that tomorrow night is viewers' request. We will probably have both DWARF 3 and Seestar, so we can cover twice as many targets. Just let me know what you want to see. We have been live for 3 hours and we captured 2 hours worth of data. That's not bad. So SkyCam is showing stars that are magnitude 6. The very bright top right corner of SkyCam is Syracuse. Light pollution, majorly. We haven't had any planes, Bill, just bugs on the SkyCam. That's a tough one, Bill, whether we are still Bortle 4. I mean, Syracuse is certainly Bortle 8-9. And there is a rapid gradient. We're only 11 miles from the center of the city. Okay, I said no planes. Speak of no planes, there is the plane. From west to east. Good night, Larry. This is how rapid the gradient is. There is Pompey. It is still saying Bortle 4. And there is Syracuse, a solid Bortle 9, 8-9. And it goes very, very rapidly. And there is Cazenovia. Good night, CGD. Okay. Chicago, Boston. Bill, as you probably know, they measure Bortle from top down, when in reality we worry about what we can see from bottom up. Much of that measurement is done by satellite, measuring how bright things are from the Earth, where in reality we want to look from the Earth up. It's how much of that is being reflected by the atmosphere. Light pollution would not be an issue if we did not have any atmosphere. As evident by this tonight, the more clouds we have, the brighter the world around us becomes. And is this the Milky Way that we are seeing? Hold on there 1 second. Ladies and gentlemen, we are looking at the Milky Way on Skycam. Jeannie, before you leave, this is the Milky Way. Not too pretty, but it's consistent with what's out there. Okay, we have our 2 hours, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining me tonight, and we will see you tomorrow night.